Wisdom of the Middle Way. Nagarjuna's Mulamadhyamakarika. Translation and commentary by J. L. Garfield. Part 2, The Text and Commentary. Chapter 21, Examination of Becoming and Destruction. In this chapter, Nagarjuna examines the phenomenon of momentary impermanence. At this point in the dialectic, one might suggest that since the emptiness of phenomena derives directly from their decomposition into momentary time slices and from the fact that they are constantly coming into existence and being destroyed, that process of momentary arising and destruction itself ought to be real in the strong sense. Nagarjuna, by way of completing the discussion of the nature of conventional phenomena, demonstrates the emptiness of even arising and destruction themselves as a prelude to the final section of the text, that discussing the nature of the ultimate and its relation to conventional reality.
1. Destruction does not occur without becoming. It does not occur together with it. Becoming does not occur without destruction. It does not occur together with it. This first verse announces the final stage in the argument to be developed. Nagarjuna will show that destruction and becoming are both mutually incompatible, and that they are mutually entailing. It will then follow that if they are inherently existent, they have contradictory properties. 2. How could there be destruction without becoming? How could there be death without birth? There is no destruction without becoming. Nagarjuna argues that, absent something coming into being, there is no sense in which it can be destroyed. So destruction presupposes becoming.
3. How could destruction and becoming occur simultaneously? Death and birth do not occur simultaneously. But they cannot exist simultaneously. For then the same entity would have contradictory properties. 4. How could there be becoming without destruction? For impermanence is never absent from entities. Since all phenomena are impermanent, as has been forcefully argued in earlier chapters, anything that comes into existence passes out of existence. 5. How could destruction and becoming occur simultaneously? Just as birth and death do not occur simultaneously.
6. How, when things cannot be established as existing with or apart from one another, can they be established at all? This is the argument to this stage. Becoming and destruction are mutually contradictory. So they cannot be properties of the same thing at the same time. But everything that is coming into existence is at a stage in a process that culminates in its destruction. So everything that is becoming is at the same time being destroyed. Everything that is being destroyed is in a later stage of a process that earlier resulted in its coming into existence and indeed, is coming to exist in some other form. So everything that is being destroyed is also becoming. So becoming and destruction cannot coexist but cannot exist apart. Hence they cannot exist independently at all. 7. There is no becoming of the disappeared. There is no becoming of the non-disappeared. There is no destruction of the disappeared. There is no destruction of the non-disappeared. This verse offers an epigrammatic summary of the previous argument. All phenomena, when analyzed closely, resolve into ephemeral moments, constantly disappearing to be succeeded by later stages of what are conventionally identified as the same objects. So everything that has ever existed has disappeared. Such a thing cannot be coming into existence. But no non-disappeared thing ever comes into existence. For as soon as it exists, it disappears. Similarly, such things cannot be in the process of destruction. But nothing that is not ephemeral is destroyed either. Given this ephemeral nature of phenomena, establishing becoming and destruction as distinct, independent processes is impossible. This claim is made directly in 21:8.
8. When no entities exist, there is no becoming or destruction. Without becoming and destruction, there are no existent entities. In the next verse, Nagarjuna connects this point directly to emptiness and to inherent existence, pointing out both that emptiness precludes the inherent establishment of becoming and destruction and that positing inherently existent phenomena would do no better. 9. It is not tenable for the empty to become or to be destroyed. It is not tenable for the non-empty to become or to be destroyed. The empty cannot come to be or be destroyed simply because there is no basis for the predication. With no entities, there is nothing to be brought into existence or to be destroyed. But if we posit non-empty phenomena, their independence and consequent permanence preclude their coming to be or destruction.
10. It is not tenable that destruction and becoming are identical. It is not tenable that destruction and becoming are different. They cannot be identical because they are contradictory predicates. But every destruction is a coming to be and vice versa. Hence, when conceived of inherently, they can be neither identical nor different. When conceived of inherently, they cannot exist. 11. If you think you see both destruction and becoming, then you see destruction and becoming through impaired vision. In the next two verses, Nagarjuna addresses coming to be. He points out that if it is conceived of as truly existent, then it must satisfy at least one of the alternatives represented in each of the following two tetralemmas. But it cannot.
12. An entity does not arise from an entity. An entity does not arise from a nonentity. A nonentity does not arise from a nonentity. A nonentity does not arise from an entity. The first alternative is precluded because inherently existent and distinct phenomena, Nagarjuna has argued, cannot be related dependently. The second is precluded because that would involve production from nothing. The third would fail to count as inherently existent production, and from the standpoint of one who posits inherent existence as a guarantor of reality, would only amount to the production of the imaginary in any case. The final alternative again would not amount to real production of anything.
13. An entity does not arise from itself. It is not arisen from another. It is not arisen from itself and another. How can it be arisen? This verse simply recapitulates the argument of chapter 1 in the service of the conclusion that arising cannot be conceived of as an independent phenomenon. Nagarjuna now draws more general conclusions regarding the implication of the view that existence amounts to inherent existence for the extreme positions. He develops in the next two verses a nice reductio ad absurdum.